So let's go over here. Let's open up and go to a segment bisector. Okay, we're going to talk about what a bisector is. First, let's look at that definition. A segment bisector is a line, ray, or segment that divides a line segment into two equal parts. Okay, really, really big thing here. The two equal parts is the key word, bisector. Okay, so whenever you see the word bisector, I want you to think two equal parts. All right, so let's kind of draw a picture of what this is supposed to look like. All right, so I'm going to draw a line segment because they do talk about the line segment in there is being divided into two equal parts. So we're going to draw a line segment right here. Boom. Okay, so this next part. All right, a segment bisector is a line, ray, or segment that divides a line segment into two equal parts. Okay, so what that means is that a line, I'm going to draw a line going down the middle the best I can. Okay, don't judge my line. I know it's a little crooked. Okay, I have this line. I'm going to call it line L. Okay, I'm using a cursive L. And then I have my two endpoints A and B. Okay, this line that I have is the bisector. Okay, he is cutting things. All right, so bisect sounds like the word dissect. Okay, when we dissect frogs in science and things like that, okay, you're cutting open the frog. So if we use the sentence, John cuts the frog. Okay, I want to talk about who's getting cut and who is cutting. All right, so in this case, the bisector is the person or thing that is doing the cutting. Okay, so John is the bisector here. Okay, and he is cutting the frog. So in this case, what is getting cut is our segment AB. Our AB is the frog in this case. Okay. All right. And when we know that it's getting cut into two equal parts, we can use a symbol to say that these two smaller parts that we have, okay, are equal. So we can use a tick mark like this to show that they're equal. And let's say that they intersect right here at point C. Okay. So now we have these two smaller segments that are getting cut by this line L at point C. All right. So the way that we can write this out, we can do it using letters. AC is equal to CB. Two equal parts. The left is equal to the right. So part equals part. Okay? That's how you can use this. You can use either one of those things to help you out. All right. So let's look at this first example. We have EF bisects AD at C. All right, let's stop right there. We're not even going to read the rest just yet. Let's figure out how we're going to draw this picture. We're talking about segments here, so let's go ahead and draw our segment. So I'm going to draw my two dots. Draw my line that connects them. Okay? All right. Now I got to figure out who's getting cut and who's cutting. All right? So I got to figure out who is my frog. So to label that correctly, is that EF or is it AD? All right. So EF bisects AD. Now if we look at our sentence back at the top, John cuts the frog. All right. The frog came second in the sentence. So if EF bisects AD, what came second? AD. So we're going to label this AD. Okay, so that means EF is our bisector. So I'm going to draw another line segment going through the middle the best I can. Okay, and that is EF. And they say that it bisects it at point C. So C is in the middle there. Okay, and we do know it's in the middle because it makes two equal parts. All right, so now let's kind of go and look at this, getting some other highlighters here. So if we know that AC is 5x minus 8, so AC to C is 5x minus 8. And CD is 16 minus 3x. Okay? I know that these two things are equal to each other. All right, so let's go ahead and do part plus part. Part equals part. So I know I have 5x minus 8 equals 16 minus 3x. Okay, me personal preference, I like to deal with positive numbers. So I can kind of tell how the equation is going to work out. I'm going to move that 3x to the left. The way that I'm going to move that 3x is I'm going to add 3x to both sides. So 5x plus 3x is 8x minus 8 equals 16. All right. Add 8 to both sides next. So I have 8x equals 24. Next step is to divide by 8. Those cancel out. I get x equals 3. All right, we found the value of x. Cool. Let's finish reading that question. Find AD. I haven't done that yet. So we got to go back and plug it in, okay? Substitute our 3 into our values that we have. So I can say that 5 times 3 minus 8 is equal to, so 5 times 3 is 15 minus 8 should get 7. Okay? And then the next thing that we have is 16 minus 3 times 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9, so 16 minus 9 is, hey, wait a second, that's 7. Look at that. They equal each other, don't they? Well, that makes sense because we divided this thing up into 2 equal parts. Okay, cool. Is that our final answer, though? No, it's not. They want to know what AD is. That's from the very beginning to the end. So we got to add these two guys together. So we're going to add them, and we get a total of 14. There's our answer. Okay? All right. Cool. Now, there is a shortcut to that. Since we know that we have 2 equal parts, did I have to go back and plug in that second 3 to that second expression? No, I didn't. I could have just doubled that first answer and gotten my final answer. Okay, so you can do that on the next one. All right, so our next example is EF bisects AD at C. All right, well, we don't have a picture, so let's draw it. All right, so I got to figure out what this line segment is. So if I go back up here, looking at my sentence, John cuts the frog. All right, I need to figure out who the frog is. So who's getting cut? Frog comes second in the sentence. So EF bisects AD. So AD is my segment that I have here. All right, and then we know that EF is doing the cutting. And they intersect at point C. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our highlighters out. And my first thing that I'm going to highlight is AC, which is 4x plus 3. The next thing I'm going to highlight is x plus 9, which is from C to D. All right, and since I know that my keyword is bisects here, I know that my two segments that I made, they are equal to each other. All right, so I can do part plus part. Part equals part. Okay, since I know I have 2 equal parts. All right, so I'm going to set my 2 expressions that I have equal to each other. So I have 4x plus 3 is equal to x plus 9. Okay, like I said, I like to deal with positive numbers, so I'm going to subtract x first. My x's cancel out. I have 3x plus 3 equals 9. Next, I'm going to subtract 3. So I have 3x equals 6, because those cancel out. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 3. My 3's cancel out. I have x equals 2. cool. I got that part of my question done. I still have to figure out what AD is. So let's go ahead and use that shortcut. So which one do you think it would be easier to plug it into? AC or D or CD? I'm going to go with CD. It only has one thing to do. So if I have 2 plus 9, well, I can do that math real fast, and that's 11. But that's only for this part right here. That's 11. But if I know the right side is 11, I also know the left side is 11. So total is 22. Okay? There's my answer. A to D is 22. And I guess I should use the correct notation up here for this example as well. It should also say AD is equal to 14 as well. Okay? Alright. So we're done with bisectors over here. So we talked about segment addition. We have two parts that equal a whole. And then segment bisector, I have a line ray or segment that divides another line segment into two equal parts. So a part equals part. And then the last thing I have is a midpoint. Okay. Well, definition, a point on a line segment that divides it into two equal segments is the midpoint of the segment, the halfway point of a line segment. Okay? So I know that midpoint means middle. Okay? So our point that we have is directly in the middle. So if something is in the middle, there is an equal amount of space between my two ends. Okay? And that middle point. So if we look down at our first example, all right, if M is the midpoint of PQ, PM, go ahead, get your highlighters out. PM is 5x plus 8, so I'm going to highlight that. PM is 5x plus 8. And then MQ is negative 3x plus 37, so that's this guy over here. Find X and PM. My key word here that's going to tell me everything in the world that I need to know is midpoint. Okay? Before we had bisects. Alright? Midpoint also means part equals part. So I know that these two segments that I have, they are equal to each other. Alright, so I'm going to just set, so part equals part. I'm going to set these guys equal to each other. So I have 5x plus 8 equals negative 3x plus 37. And I'm going to move my negative 3x over first. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. Those cancel out. I have 8x plus 8 equals 37. I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. I'm going to move over to the right a little bit. So I'll end up with 8x left over equals 29. And then we divide both sides by 8. Those cancel out. X equals, go ahead and type 29 divided by 8. See if we get a nice pretty decimal or something ugly. Alright, you should have gotten something like 3.625. That's nice enough for me. Let's use it. 3.625. Alright, so now that we have that value, it says to find X and PM. So I'm just going to take this value and I'm going to go back and plug it in to PM. So we know that PM is equal to 5x plus 8. So instead of the x, I'm going to have my 3.625 in there. So 5 times 3.625 plus 3. Okay. Take a second and go ahead and type that into your calculator. And you should come out to have a total of 21.125. 5. And there's your answer. Okay? Alright, moving on to the last one before you guys start doing your own work. Okay? Alright, so example 2 here. M is the midpoint of PQ. Alright, so let's go ahead and draw our picture. So I know that PQ is my line segment. So P and Q. And I know that M is the midpoint. So I'm going to draw it in the middle as best I can. And I know that PM and MQ are on here. And since those are my two parts, I know that part equals part. Because of my keyword over here, midpoint. And I'm going to take my two parts and I'm going to plug them into my formula over here. So 9x plus 3 is equal to 11x minus 17. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to minus 9x on both sides. And I get 2x minus 17. Next, I'm going to add 17 to both sides. Those cancel out. I have 2x left over on the right. Set 3 plus 17 is 20. Divide by 2 on both sides. X equals 10. Alright, you did part of it, but I need to finish it off. So P to Q. Well, that's not that little part anymore. It's the whole amount. So I got to go back and plug it in. Which one do you think is easier to plug in first? I'm going to choose PM. Okay, so if I know that PM is equal to 9 times, what was our X? 10 plus 3. And I know that equals 93. Okay, so now I'm going to write that down on my picture over here. From P to M is 93. Well, if I know the left side is 93, how much do I know the right side is? It is also 93 because I know that I have two equal parts here. All right, so 93 plus 93 to give me my whole amount. Okay, so if I do 93 plus 93, what does that give me? 186. Okay, is equal to PQ. There's our answer. All right, you guys, that's the notes for today over segment addition, postulate, segment bisector, and midpoint of a segment. Down here, I have, it's the same thing on both sides. This is your half sheet that you guys have. This is the work that you're going to finish up next, and then you'll glue this on to the left side of your notebook. All right, I hope you guys had a great day and enjoyed the video. Please watch it as many times as you need. If you didn't get something, rewind and rewatch it, okay? Hope you all have a great day. Bye.